The power of radical acceptance. Have you ever opened your eyes in the dead of the pre-dawn shadows, when the entire city is still buried in sleep, but your mind is already a blazing battlefield? I know that feeling intimately. It's that invisible weight pressing down on your chest, where the stack of overdue bills isn't just paper, but ghosts haunting your every thought, where the scars of a shattered relationship are still raw, and the suffocating pressure of work feels like a looming tsunami, ready to snatch your very last breath of air. Here in Brazil, we live in a feverish dance with destiny. We know all too well that the razor-thin line between the peak of glory and the bitter abyss is often just a heartbeat away. Most people, they fight it. They scream into the void or crumble under the sheer mass of fate. But today, as your companion on this Invictus journey, I'm leading you down a hidden path, one that the ancient masters have guarded with silence for thousands of years. Take a deep breath. Now imagine, what if the ultimate weapon to shatter the chains of your pain wasn't the sword of resistance, but an alchemy of the soul? I'm talking about a dark, radiant secret known as Amor Fati. We aren't here to simply deal with hardship. We're going to learn how to love it, to crave it, to treat it like the very fuel that makes your inner fire burn white-hot. Stop looking at the wreckage of your mourning with fear, because the second you master absolute acceptance, you become truly invincible. Let me show you how to forge diamonds out of your tears, and turn your most bitter failures into an immortal anthem of triumph. Welcome to the dawn of an emperor, rising right here in the silence of your own room. Amor Fati, turning adversity into fuel. In the world of those who hunger to master their own destiny, there is a term known as the black diamond. It's the rarest gem you'll find in the deep caverns of Stoic philosophy. Amor Fati, literal translation, a love of fate. But don't let that simple definition fool you. This isn't weak resignation, it is a revolution of the will. It's a spiritual ritual of alchemy that turns the rusted iron of your pain into the pure gold of power. Let me tell you about Carlos, just an ordinary father in the heart of Sao Paulo, a city as vibrant as it is cruel. Imagine the scorching sun baking the asphalt, exhaust fumes thick in the air, and horns blaring so loud they tear through your eardrums. Carlos stands there, watching the very last bus to attack or vanish into a cloud of gray smoke. In his hands is a small gift for his son. Today is the boy's birthday. It's a breaking point. Most of us would stand there cursing the traffic, cursing God, letting rage incinerate the last bit of peace in our day. But Carlos is different. He takes a deep, lung-burning breath, and he smiles. A mysterious, knowing smile. He doesn't just accept the missed bus, he loves that moment. He tells himself, this isn't a setback. It's an invitation. Destiny wants me to train these legs. It wants to give me 2 hours of walking to reflect on what it truly means to be a father, and maybe, just maybe, to find a wildflower along the path that money could never buy. Carlos turned a delay into a spiritual gym. He turned a disappointment into a poem of resilience. That is the raw power of Amor Fati. Instead of standing outside the flow of life, trying to swim upstream until you drown in exhaustion, you choose to merge with it. You don't just deal with what happens, you crave it. Because you know that every adversity carries the seed of a new greatness. To truly possess this diamond, you must perform 3 rituals every single day. First, the mirror ritual, radical acceptance. Every morning, while the shadows are still clinging to the walls, stand before your mirror. Look deep into your own eyes and whisper it like a vow. No matter if today brings storms or sunshine, betrayal or loyalty, I welcome it all with infinite gratitude. View every coming event as an honored guest invited to enrich your life. Second, the cognitive shift, the invisible trainer. When hardship strikes, a sharp email, a fender bender, a canceled plan, don't ask, why me? Instead, flip the switch. What is this trainer trying to teach me right now? Patience? Creativity? Unshakable calm? See your struggles as the heavy weights fate throws at you to build the muscles of your soul. Third, the sunset reflection. Before you drift into sleep, ask yourself the hard question, today did I flow with the current of life, or did I waste my breath struggling against the inevitable? If you still feel resentment, it's a sign you haven't loved your fate enough. Remember my words, warriors of modern Invictus. Fate is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your fuel, and your catalyst. When you learn to love the fire that burns away your expectations, you'll realize that very same fire is lighting the path to your immortality. Don't just survive the day. Love every shattered piece of it. Intentions within reach, the victory from within. Do you hear the pulse of a nation that hungers for greatness? In Brazil, we are born and bred to dream big. We dream of the highest peaks, the glint of golden trophies, and the roar of the world's applause. But there is a brutal truth that few dare to face under the blinding camera flashes of glory. The world does not owe you a happy ending. When you tie your heart to a number, a title, or the validation of a stranger, you are handing the keys to your soul to the demons of chance. Today I'm pulling back the curtain on an ancient secret, one that helped slaves become philosophers and emperors keep their cool in the face of betrayal. It is the art of intentions within reach. Picture a young man on the hollowed turf of the legendary Maracana. His eyes? Pure fire. He's dreaming of that one goal to lift his family out of the favela. The roar of 100,000 fans is suffocating. He takes a thunderous shot, and the ball rattles off the post. Does his world end? Does the crowd's jeer break him? If he is clinging to the goal of having to score, he is shattered. But a true Stoic warrior sees a different game. He knows that whether that ball hits the net depends on a sudden gust of wind, the fingertips of a keeper, or a divot in the grass, variables he can never control. His true victory happened long before the whistle blew. It was in every relentless sprint, in his refusal to play dirty, and in the sheer will to give 100% to every single play. When you focus on your intentions, on how you show up and how you fight, you become invincible. Because no one and no twist of fate can ever steal your effort. This is the greatest psychological coup in history, shifting your focus from the outcome to the process. Apply this right now amidst the chaos of Rio or Sao Paulo. Instead of waking up and sweating over a goal like, "Today I have to close that 1,000 real deal," stop. Take a breath. Look inward and set a deeper, more powerful intention. Today I will work with the sharpest wisdom, unshakable integrity, and the courage to face every single no. Do you see the difference? Those 1,000 reals might come or they might not. But wisdom and courage? Those are yours to manufacture at will. When you master your intention, you fortify the fortress of your inner peace against the harsh volatility of the market and the world. Stop being a slave to the numbers you can't control. Be the sovereign of your own actions. That is how you win, even when the world says you lost. Welcome to the power of ultimate self-mastery. Embracing discomfort, forging the iron armor of the soul. There is a brutal truth that the mediocre will never want to admit. Comfort is a velvet coffin. It's soft, it's inviting, but it's killing your warrior instinct every single day. Here in Brazil, we live in a culture that worships pleasure, sun-drenched beaches, non-stop music, and the easy life. But if you only know how to drown in comfort, you are transforming yourself into weak prey for the fangs of fate. Today I'm taking you into a secret ritual of those who hold real power, the ones who build empires not with luxury but with voluntary scars on their souls. This is the art of seeking discomfort. Join me in a magnificent mansion in Leblon, Rio de Janeiro. The city lights are still flickering through the 5 a.m. mist. The owner, a powerful man with enough wealth to buy an entire island, stands in a bathroom clad in marble. He doesn't touch the hot water handle. Instead, he takes a deep breath and cranks the cold water to the limit. Every freezing drop hits his skin like thousands of needles piercing his very soul. His body shivers, his breath hitches, and every instinct screams for him to step out, to run back to the warmth of his silk blankets. But he stands there, motionless, like an ancient stone statue. What? Not because he can't pay the bill, but because he is on a spiritual journey, affirming his sovereignty. In that moment, he is whispering to his own cells, "I am not a slave to convenience. I am the master of this sensation. If I can master this cold, then the crashes of the stock market or the betrayal of a partner are nothing to me." He is tempering himself in cold fire to build iron armor for his soul. Stoicism doesn't teach us to seek mindless suffering. It teaches us to use small doses of poison to create immunity against life's great disasters. When you choose discomfort, you strip fate of its most powerful weapon, the element of surprise. To truly become a member of modern Invictus, you must begin tempering your armor through these 3 levels of sacrifice. Level 1, the water ritual, instant discipline. Do not start your day wrapped in blankets. End your shower with 30 seconds of ice-cold water. Feel the clash between your will and your instincts, and make sure your will wins. Level 2, the restraint of the stomach, mastering craving. Try fasting for just 1 hour longer than usual, or say no to your favorite morning treat. Look at your craving as if you were a spectator and smile. You think you control me? No. Today I am the one who decides. Level 3, the mortification of the muscle, conquering laziness. When your mind says, "I'm too tired today, let's skip the workout," that is exactly when you must lace up your shoes and hit the pavement. It doesn't have to be a grueling session. Just 15 minutes of resisting that lethargy is enough to prove that your spirit is stronger than your flesh. Remember my words, a soul raised in silk will shatter in a storm, but a soul tempered through voluntary pain will find opportunity in the wreckage. Do you want to be a petal falling with the wind, or a jagged rock standing tall against the ocean? The choice is made at the handle of your cold shower tomorrow morning. Welcome to the world of the unyielding. The Stoic Journal, a sacred conversation. Do you know where the darkest, loudest, and most chaotic place on earth is? It isn't the infamous favelas of Rio, and it isn't the gridlocked intersections of Sao Paulo. It's your mind. Every night, the moment your head hits the pillow, 1,000 ghosts of anxiety, regret, and imaginary arguments begin to rise. They chain you to an inner prison with no apparent exit. And if you don't learn to master them, they will run your life, and you will have the nerve to call it fate. Today I'm handing you an ancient key, a mysterious ritual used by the greatest minds in history to keep their sanity while the world went mad. We call it the sacred conversation. Picture the scene, the bone-chilling cold of the Danube frontier. Inside a ragged tent, thick with the smell of coal smoke and blood, a man sits writing. He isn't some starving philosopher. He is Marcus Aurelius, the emperor holding the destiny of the entire Roman Empire in his hands. Outside, the steel of his enemies clashes. Inside, the betrayal of his closest allies stings. But he isn't writing decrees to punish them. He isn't writing for the applause of history. By the flickering light of an oil lamp, he writes for himself. Every stroke of the pen is a broom sweeping away the debris of fear, a medicine for a bleeding soul. He writes to clean the most important kingdom he will ever rule, his own mind. The meditations we worship today, they were nothing more than the raw fragments of a silent, inner war. If the most powerful man on earth needed a journal just to keep from losing his mind, what makes you think you can survive without one? A Stoic journal isn't a place to vent about trivialities. It is a mirror of truth. To perform this ritual every morning, pick up your pen and perform these 3 steps of soul surgery. Step 1, the purge, sweeping away the ghosts. Do not let last night's anxieties take root. Pour every tangled thought and every nameless frustration onto the page. Write until your head feels light, as if you've finally stripped off a heavy suit of armor after a lifelong battle. Step 2, hunting for diamonds, micro-gratitude. Amidst the harshness of life, you must train your eyes to see the hidden gold. Record 3 tiny things that made you smile: the rich aroma of your morning coffee, the first ray of sun through the leaves, or the simple nod of a stranger. When you choose gratitude, you strip scarcity of its power over you. Step 3, the moral tribunal. Look at the page and ask yourself the brutal question: am I actually living the values I claim to hold? Yesterday, did I act from reason or from my lowest instincts? This is where you recalibrate your moral compass before you step out to face the storm. Stop drifting through your existence. Pick up the pen and begin this sacred conversation. Because once you master the page, you master the day. And once you master the day, you become the emperor of your own life. Welcome to the kingdom of the awakened warriors of modern Invictus. Connecting with the great teachers. Do you know what's quietly stealing your soul the very second you open your eyes? It's not the weight of your workload. It's not the chaos of the world outside. The enemy is right there in your hand, glowing in that eerie blue light of your smartphone. In Brazil, where the torrent of social media hits like a flash flood, most of us begin our day by drowning in the lives of others. We scroll through the fake smiles of Instagram, the toxic headlines of inflation, and the hollow noise of internet arguments. Without even realizing it, you are inviting thousands of strangers into your bedroom, letting them trample over your inner peace and hardwiring your brain with a software of envy and anxiety. But today, I'm going to reveal to you an ancient ritual of summoning, a way to speak directly with the greatest minds to ever walk this earth, even though they've been gone for thousands of years. We call it the timeless connection. Imagine a businessman in the eye of a financial hurricane in Sao Paulo. Instead of grabbing his phone to watch the currency crash or scrolling through panicked headlines, he walks calmly to his bookshelf. He pulls out a set of faded, yellowed pages. These are the letters of Seneca. In the sacred silence of the dawn, he doesn't hear the roar of the market. He hears a voice echoing from 2 millennia ago. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Instantly, a jolt of clarity surges through him. To this man, Seneca isn't just a name in a history book. He is a supreme advisor, installing a firewall against panic in his mind. While the rest of the world is weeping over what they've lost, this man smiles. He realizes the only things he truly owns are his time and his character. He walks out his door not as a victim of the economy, but as a general with a battlefield map held firmly in his hand. Stoicism isn't a degree you hang on a wall. It is a weapon for the trenches of life. To perform this ritual, a warrior of modern Invictus must follow these 3 laws of mental purification. 1. The sacred ground. The first 30 minutes, treat the first half hour of your day as a tech-free sanctuary. Do not touch that phone. Keep your mind as a blank canvas, ready to receive the ink of ancient giants. 2. Summon your guardian. Choose a mentor to stand guard over your day. It could be the iron discipline of Epictetus, the royal grace of Marcus Aurelius, or the razor-sharp wit of Seneca. Read or listen to just one passage. Don't just skim it with your eyes. Breathe it in until those thoughts become part of your very DNA. 3. Turn knowledge into armor. Once you've taken in the lesson, ask yourself, if my mentor were facing the crisis I have at 10 a.m. today, how would he move? How would he speak? Turn a quote into a concrete action. Remember, one page put into practice is worth more than a whole library gathered in silence. Stop starting your day as a beggar for attention on social media. Start it as a disciple of the truth. Let the greatest minds in history lead the way. When you have Seneca or Marcus Aurelius as your spiritual security detail, no hardship in Brazil or anywhere else can bring you to your knees. Welcome to the high council of the wise. Warriors, take your seat. Mindfulness amidst the chaos. Ever feel like your mind is in exile? Like you're constantly wandering through dimensions that aren't even real? We are living in the age of the most sophisticated time thieves in human history. On one side, it chains you to the past with regret, haunting you with the ghosts of bad choices, words left unsaid, or failures that should have been buried long ago. On the other side, it hurls you into the future with a whirlwind of anxiety, horror stories of a tomorrow that hasn't even happened yet. The result? You lose the only thing you actually own, the present moment. In the concrete jungles of Sao Paulo or Rio, where life roars like an engine on the verge of exploding, the chaos isn't just on the streets, it's in your veins. But today I'm going to teach you a time-freezing technique of the Stoic warriors, an art we call mindfulness in the heart of the storm. Picture Sophia. She's standing in the middle of the Central do Brasil station during rush hour. The air is thick with sweat, suffocating heat, and the bone-chilling screech of train whistles. Inside Sophia's head, a hurricane. She's obsessing over a life-altering exam tomorrow. She sees herself failing, humiliated, empty-handed. Her heart is racing, her breath is shallow. She is literally dying in her own future. But then, she remembers a secret. She doesn't close her eyes to run away from reality. Instead, she opens them wide and performs a divine anchor. She shifts her entire consciousness down, into the soles of her feet, pressing against the cold, hard concrete floor. She feels the weight of her body against the earth, the only thing that is solid, stable, and real right now. She takes a deep, deliberate breath, feeling the air fill her lungs and slowly escape. Amidst the screams of the crowd, Sophia suddenly finds a strange, silent pocket of space. The world around her is still chaotic, but she is no longer a part of that chaos. She is the observer. She has returned to the now, the only place where she actually has the power to act. The exam is a story for tomorrow, but this breath, this stillness, this belongs to right now. This isn't just relaxing. This is a seizure of the center point. Stoicism screams at us, the past and the future are not yours. The present is the only kingdom you can actually rule. To build this power, you must perform the ritual of the green zone of peace every single morning. 1. The 5-minute silence. Sit as straight as a sword. Do not try to chase away your emotions, whether it's fear or rage. Just watch them, like black clouds passing through the wide open sky of your mind. 2. The anchor technique. Lock onto your breath. When your mind tries to cross the border, into the past or the future, pull it back ruthlessly. Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Listen to the immediate sounds around you. 3. The fortress of identity. Tell yourself, I am not my emotions. I am the one observing them. When you establish this green zone in the morning, you enter the battle of the day with a completely different spirit. You are no longer a dry leaf blown by the wind. You are a jagged rock standing tall against the waterfall. Welcome home to your own kingdom. This is where the chaos stops, right at the threshold of your awareness. Stand your ground here, modern Invictus, because this is where your power truly begins. A view from the stars, the infinite impermanence. For our final ritual, the one that hammers the last plate of iron into your armor, I'm inviting you on a journey. Not one taken with your feet, but with a transcendent mind. This is the view from above, an ultimate weapon to shatter the chains of your small ego and the trivial anxieties that gnaw at your soul every single day. Close your eyes. Picture yourself perched on the jagged, majestic peak of Mount Corcovado, draped in the haunting morning mist of Rio de Janeiro. Right behind you, the massive, welcoming arms of Cristo Redentor are stretched wide. From this sacred vantage point, look down. What do you see? The sprawling giant that is Rio looks like nothing more than a toy model. The glinting towers of Leblon, the winding veins of the favelas, they've shrunk into tiny streaks of color. The blaring horns, the heated arguments on the street corners, the private heartaches of millions, it all goes silent. As the distance grows, the noise of the world simply vanishes. But don't stop there. Let your mind soar higher. Watch as the earth becomes a lonely pale blue dot, suspended in the black velvet of the cosmos. Look at the birth and death of entire galaxies, the rise and fall of empires in the eternal river of time. Now, look back at that massive problem you're facing. That stinging email from your boss? That harsh comment on social media? That bruised ego because someone didn't give you the respect you thought you deserved? Do you see it now? They have become small, pathetically small, like a single nameless grain of sand in a limitless ocean. The mystery of Stoicism lies in this very realization: impermanence. When you adopt a cosmic perspective, you don't become cold or indifferent, you become free. You realize you are playing a part in a grand, brief, and beautiful drama of existence. To wield this power before you step out of your fortress each morning, you must etch the ritual of memento mori, remember you will die, into your heart. 1. The Cosmic Vision Ritual. Every morning, take 60 seconds to zoom out. Ask yourself, in the billion-year dance of the universe, what does this crisis actually mean? As your ego shrinks, your inner power expands. 2. The Privilege of Existence. Take to heart the words of Marcus Aurelius. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Never treat your existence as a given. Treat every breath as a gift that destiny can reclaim at any moment. 3. Purging trivial conflict. When you truly understand that everything is temporary, you stop wasting your fire on meaningless wars. You no longer have time for resentment or petty comparisons. Instead, you begin to live a life of deep purpose, focusing only on what truly enriches your soul. Welcome back from the stars. Now, open your eyes. Step out your door and live like a king of your own awareness. You are no longer a slave to the petty tremors of the world. You are a part of a magnificent order. Go out and lie as I wati optat visem. Haitin bing but quot go moden invitu. The final decree, live so that fate bows. The morning mist has finally cleared. Standing before you now is a crossroads of destiny, a path that no one, not even the gods themselves, can walk for you. Can you feel it? The hot breath of fate, right on the back of your neck? This life, in all its brutality and its splendor, is fundamentally a gift. But it's a gift wrapped in the silent choices we make at every dawn. How you meet that first ray of light determines whether you are the predator or the prey of fortune. I am Ken Lai, and here at the citadel of awakening known as Modern Invictus, we aren't here to whisper shallow comforts or distant fantasies into your ear. We are here to wake up the emperor within you, the one currently held in chains by your comfort and your fear. You've heard the 7 rituals of power. But remember this, knowledge without action is nothing but a ghost drifting in the void. So I challenge you, right now while this heartbeat still belongs to you, choose at least one habit. Maybe it's the ice-cold water to purge your lethargy. Or maybe it's a single page in your journal to dissect your hidden pains. But whatever it is, do not wait for tomorrow. Because tomorrow is the sweetest lie told by those who fail. Begin your journey as a stoic warrior now. While the darkness is still terrified of the light of your will, the world out there is already poised to strike you down. But they have no idea that today, you step out with the mindset of the undefeated. Live in such a way that fate itself must bow. Your Invictus journey begins this very second.